Comrades, we've come to the close of a hugely significant meeting. And I'd like to thank the SGO, and I'd like to thank all our provinces and all of you in your various structures for having enabled us to have this meeting. We've held meetings such as this before, but today's meeting is quite a historic one. Historic in many, many ways. The ANC accounts for well over 4,900 councillors across the country. And today you are 4,600 and something who are present here. So we've got wall-to-wall coverage of South Africa gathered here. And thank you very much for being here. We cover every area of South Africa, from the eastern seaboard to the western seaboard, from the Atlantic Ocean, from the Indian Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean, from the north part of our country to the southern part of our country along the Agulhas Sea. This is who you are. You are the people, comrades, gathered here who have the responsibility, the power, and the authority to fundamentally transform our society. The transformation of our society relies on you, relies on what you do where our people live. And today, we've got the full cohort that governs our country at national level, at provincial level, at local level as well. And that cohort belongs to the African National Congress and no other party. You, comrades, councillors of our country, the councillors of our movement, have the means and the opportunities to radically change the course of our country's development. The better future of our country that our people yearn for, the better life that our people yearn for, is in your hands. It is built at local level by the work that you do. When we gather to talk about local government, we always talk about the problems of local government. We talk about the dysfunctionality, the wastage. We often just talk about the corruption and the non-delivery of services, but we rarely talk about the vast opportunities that exist at local government level. We hardly ever talk about the good work that many of you are doing in your councils. We also do not always talk about the great potential of local government to change the lives of every South African for the better. There are several positive and commendable aspects of local government in our country, despite the well-known challenges that we face at local government level. These strengths are important to recognize because they form the foundation for improvement and community resilience. And some of these are South Africa's constitutional architecture, which provides a decentralized system of governance where local government have real authority. This allows municipalities to tailor services and development to local needs. The system encourages grassroots democracy. And I often say, if people want to see how real grassroots democracy works, they must come to our country. They must come and see how we execute democracy at the local level, at the provincial level, and at the national level. Our country, in the main, is second to none when it comes to our democratic architecture. Citizens can directly influence local decisions through public participation, forums, and ward committees where our people participate directly. South Africa has a unique concept of developmental local government, which means municipalities should not only deliver services, but promote social and economic development as well. They should reduce poverty. They should reduce inequality in the work they do. They should also empower communities. This vision supports inclusive growth and transformation as well. But more importantly, comrades, we have another important endowment, the growing quality of councillors. You know, many people often dismiss our councillors as people who are uninformed, people who are not knowledgeable, people who know nothing, people who are always making mistakes. A good number of our councillors continue to improve themselves. You are the intellectual capital and the human capital of our country. Many of you, and this I know for sure, many of you keep improving yourself, your educational and technical qualifications, as we heard earlier. Comrade Hope Papo spoke to this. A number of you are studying quietly and privately, obtaining your diplomas, obtaining your university degrees, and obtaining your master's degrees. And there are some who are also doing their PhD degrees. I know that for a fact, because you see, once you are a councillor, you know, that councillorhood stays in you. That spirit never leaves you. This former councillor here, who was a mayor temporarily for 3 hours, is now a candidate for a PhD degree. So we will know that once he was a councillor, that spirit of improvement hasn't left him. And today, in a few months, he is going to be a PhD degree. And I know that amongst you, a number of you are studying, and soon you will be coming forward to tell me that, President, we are now PhD candidates. So there is a great deal of improvement happening. So, ke leka go kgalema lenyatso. Ke leka go kgalemela lenyatso. Ya hore, batho ba bangata ba nahana hore di-councillor tsa ANC di kwalehile, a di a ruteha. Bongata ba lona le ruteile. By so saying, I want to encourage those who have not yet started their own serious educational journey to start that journey and reach high levels of knowledge and education and capability, so that what Reverend Frank Chikane was talking about, this high performance process that he was talking about, can be easily reached, can be easily attained. That we do when we improve ourselves. The other important strength that we have, which we often overlook, is that several municipalities have pioneered innovative approaches. And we need, as we carry on with our work, to learn from each other. As councils, we need to learn from what others are doing best. if eThekwini is doing something really good to turn itself around, Ekurhuleni must go and visit eThekwini and say, brothers and sisters or comrades, what is it that you are doing to turn things around in eThekwini? If Mangaung is doing things better, we should all be paying attention. If Sengu is doing things better as they always do, we must go and find out what that small municipality is doing right in the northern part of the Eastern Cape. That is wonderful. So let us do cross-pollination. So the strength we have is that a number of our municipalities are doing really wonderful things. This gathering of councillors, probably the largest meeting of public representatives our movement has ever had, has been different. Today we have focused on seizing the opportunities of transformation that exist in our cities, in our towns, in our villages, and rural areas. We have agreed on the actions that we must take, as read out by the Secretary General in the program of action. We must take those actions to improve people's lives and to realize the transformative potential of the local government where we are deployed. We have agreed on the action plan for local government that has 6 pillars as read out by the SG. Firstly, we must address core service delivery commitments. That, comrades, is what we need to do. Yesterday, I said to the NEC, the issue of service delivery, comrades, we have to do it and we must approach it like the Youth League was saying in their theme of the conference. They were saying economic transformation or death. And I say it's service delivery improvement or death for us. That is how we must approach it. What this means is that things like water supply, things like leaks must be fixed. It is unacceptable that as councillors, as leaders of the people of the areas where we live, we can have water leaks, sewage running in the street, and not take any action. Reverend Chikane puts it very well. We must be the first to know. Now I want, and your marching orders today are when there's a water leak, when there's sewage in the street, you must be the first to know, and you must do something about it within 48 hours. Because, comrades, it's very simple. Because if there is such a leak in your house, where you live, if there's ever going to be sewage leaking into your yard and into your house, as a councillor, you will make sure that you attend to it within a short space of time. That is the reality for all of us. And if that is the case, for you personally, as a leader, the same must apply to the people that you lead. And that is being a servant of the people. That means that we respect our people, we are giving them dignity, we are giving them recognition. That, comrades, is the call to arms. You cannot allow what you will not tolerate to be done to the people who elected you to your positions. It is impossible. You must get to a point where you say, I am not going to sleep until this water sewerage or this water leak is attended to. If people do not have water, you must ask yourself, why do they not have water? It must never come from the newspapers. It must come from you. And you, as the leader of our people, must have a plan of what you are going to do with the shortage of water where you are. A clear plan, and if it's bulk water challenge, there must be a clear plan that all of you as a council are dealing with. And if pressure has to be put on anyone, right even to the top, pressure must be put. Comrades, our call to action is that we must put the interests of our people ahead of our own interests. We are servants of the people. And as we serve the people, it is their interests that matter way above our own interests. So there are a number of things that keep troubling our people when it comes to service delivery. Issues such as sanitation, even in informal settlements. Issues such as the failure to remove refuse. We must make sure that those are attended to without fail. Vandalism and theft are matters that we need to attend to, even as we have to identify where that has happened and how to prevent it from happening again, including working together with the police. Secondly, we must repair, maintain, and build effective and sustainable infrastructure facilities where we live. Our municipalities, comrades, must be fixated about simple things such as fixing potholes and properly maintaining roads. This is not a difficult process. As soon as a pothole appears, the network that we have of being ward councillors, of being PR councillors, means that the area where we are in charge has been clearly delineated, and we should know everything that is happening in that area. The people of Cuba have the most beautiful system. Their leaders at local government level know everything that is happening. Even as a face that is not familiar in the environment appears, they will immediately know. Anything that happens, moves, or shakes is something they know. And if we have that culture, if we inculcate everything we do with a culture of being well informed about the happenings in the areas where we are, then we will be able to solve all the problems. If somebody passes away in the area, we should be the first to know. If a child is raped, we should be the first to go and knock at the door. If anything happens in the area, we are the first who are supposed to be there. The third pillar of our action plan is to build capable local government and strengthen institutional capacity. We need to strengthen the way our local government works, meaning that acts of disruption, like we've seen in other councils, where, for instance, two parallel structures of a council are set up, two mayors, two municipal managers, two speakers. That must come to an end. That should come to an end and should never happen in the African National Congress. What it means is that we must find ways of settling our disputes, of finding ways of ensuring that whatever differences we have do not spill over into our government work. Fourthly, we must reconnect with the people and restore the trust of accountability, meaning that we must hold meetings. And I know that a number of our councillors hold regular meetings with the members of the community. There is great value in this. When we hold meetings with our residents, we increase the level of confidence, of transparency, of trust, and openness. And even when things go wrong, even when the budgetary challenges bear down on the council very badly and we are not able to achieve what we wanted, when we explain it openly, honestly, and transparently to our people, I have often found out that they understand. And that is precisely what we should be doing, communicating all the time. There's never a problem with over-communicating and holding regular meetings with our people to explain everything. Sixthly, we must communicate the services, the programs, and successes of local government to our people. Where we have done well, let us explain to them. But where we also have shortcomings, and even where we have done badly, where we have taken bad decisions, we should, with a clean heart, be able to go and explain to our people where we went wrong. Together, comrades, these tasks represent a call to action for all our members. More than that, it is a call to action that must be taken up by all ANC structures, from the branch to the NEC, and by all our members. This meeting that we are having, comrades, should be seen as a turning point for our movement as a whole, not just by us as councillors, a turning point for the entire movement. The National Executive Committee approached the discussion on local government in that spirit, that this must now be a turning point where we give maximum attention to ensuring that we revitalize local government. We must take this call beyond our movement to communities, to civic organizations, to unions, to business, to women and youth organizations. As soon as I finish speaking here, I'm going to the COSATU Central Executive Committee meeting, and I am going to impart precisely the same message to our ally COSATU. We must ensure that these priorities we have identified are taken up by officials within the municipality. Now, we've often heard that sometimes officials themselves become obstructionist. They sometimes refuse to execute executive decisions that have been taken. Now, the solution is simple. If clear decisions have been taken by an authorized entity and someone who is supposed to execute those decisions does not do so, there's only one way out, and the way out is the door. That is the only way out. It basically means that that person has decided to divorce themselves from the interests of the people. So this is a clear message. As we thank our officials, and we thank them immensely, my presidential newsletter this morning was about thanking our civil servants who do incredible work to support the people of South Africa. And we applaud them during this Public Service Month. But those comrades who, as we seek to turn around our municipalities, are going to be obstructionists, are going to be stubborn, are going to be slow, are going to refuse to act in the interest of the people, the door, and if they want the window, they can go through the window as well. Now, the tasks that we are putting forward are not meant to advance party political interests. They advance the interests of the people and all of our country. And we should encourage everyone to embrace and support them. As a movement, we carry a historical responsibility for the eradication of all forms of oppression and fundamental transformation of our society. Now, by fulfilling our commitments to provide basic services to citizens, we are advancing that responsibility. One of the defining features of apartheid inequality was the huge disparities in access to basic services. By making sure that every South African, starting with the most poor and marginalized, receive quality basic services, we are taking a huge step in reducing inequality. We have made great progress since 1994 by expanding basic services to many of our people, but we need to sustain and deepen that whole progress. Everyone must have decent housing, and every house must have water, sanitation, electricity, and refuse removal. Homeowners must also have their title deeds. And if we can do all these things, comrades, you will find that South Africans are quite amenable, they are quite understanding, and they get satisfied when we provide services to them. Potholes must be fixed, water leaks must be repaired, street lighting must be installed. I was saying to Comrade Dada Morero the other day that now that we are host to the G20 Leaders Summit in November, we must light up the various travel corridors that go to Nasrec, where we are going to host them. But more importantly, we must light up the whole city. And I told him that one day I was traveling and the national chair was also traveling, and we found that the street lights are not on. Comrades, the street lighting is a simple thing. It must happen. It's a function that we are capable of ensuring that it is executed. We are talking about simple things, and that is why the call to action is a doable one. And that is why, as the SG says, we will have reviews every 3 months, 6 months, and also in a year. Our fight against poverty and the high cost of living requires that indigent registers should be completed and that all households that qualify for indigent support should receive free basic services. Now, this is where, comrades, we need to reinforce our commitment as the African National Congress to reduce the cost of living for our people. Costs for many services have gone up, but we have a program in government which costs us 70 billion rand, which we need to utilize and unlock. And I know that a number of municipalities utilize that indigent program assistance for paying salaries, for meeting other needs. That program must be jealously guarded for poor people, the people in our communities who must begin to see that the African National Congress does indeed care for them. Maintaining and expanding municipal infrastructure is similarly essential to reduce inequality and poverty. Municipalities have a vast portfolio of infrastructure, whether it be roads or bridges, water treatment plants, clinics, community centers, and electricity distribution, and water reticulation. We need to realize the full value of infrastructure by repairing these facilities and making sure that when they are broken, they are indeed repaired. Where we invest in new infrastructure, it must be in the areas and communities that are most in need. This is not just promoting equality. It is about creating conditions also for economic development, because investors are attracted to towns and cities that work, including rural areas. When a town, when a city, when a metro functions, investors are attracted. I saw it myself when we put together the eThekwini Presidential Working Group, when I met a group of business people, and they said, President, we want to invest in eThekwini to revamp Durban so that it becomes the tourism mecca of our country once again. And it was when the Presidential Working Group process started, where we were bringing together national, provincial, local government and business people, labor, community-based organizations, academics and all that. As we brought them all together to work, the private sector called me for a meeting, and they were competing in saying, and trying to outshine one another on which business is going to invest billions of rands. And they were saying they are going to open the Elangeni Hotel, the Maraharani Hotel, and they are going to pour money into that broad walk along the beach and revamp the hotels. And they were doing so because we were restoring eThekwini to become investable once again. And therefore, comrades, wherever you are, look at your municipality as an investment opportunity and ask yourself whether any business person, any major business could ever come and invest there. And ask yourself as councils, what do we need to do to attract businesses to come and invest and create jobs? Because in the end, comrades, it is the business community that has the money. They control 75% of our economy, and let's crowd them in, as we have always said. But we can only do so by having clean streets. We can only do so if water reticulation works. We can only do so if there are no potholes in the town. We can only do so if we give good services and the billing system works. And where they have a sense that there's no underhand activities, that there are no corrupt activities that are being executed by any of our councillors or our officials. This, comrades, is the issue I spoke about. It's that or we die. And if we don't do that, we end up being like Ditsobotla. Ditsobotla had Clover, a fairly substantial dairy company that employed well over 2,000 people, and some say 5,000, who, when they didn't get good services, when the municipality did not focus its attention on them, when the municipality did not regard them as being special in terms of being ratepayers, when the municipality did not provide water and the roads were dilapidated, they packed and left and went to KZN. So this is what we need to focus on. We must look at our municipalities as economic reservoirs. Yes, we've got to provide services to everyone, but essentially what you are doing as councillors, you are running businesses. because your municipalities have customers. And the customers are the residents who must pay rates and taxes. The customers are the business people who must pay rates and taxes regularly. So you now need to be pleasing them and have a pool and make sure that they will continue being dedicated to stay in the city and to improve. And that's when you will start having them committing, having skyscrapers, having wonderful facilities in your town. Your town becomes attractive. It has more residents. Whether it is in the rural area or not, people will come back. And this is what development is all about. But at the same time, your councils must be brave enough to attract businesses through incentives, through programs that can bring them in, through reducing red tape, through reducing the regulatory difficulties, and monitoring what is being done in the administration, because that is often where things go wrong. So, comrades, successful towns are towns where the administration, where the councillors, where the mayoral committee and the troika are always on their toes to make their city work or town work. And the rest falls into place, because when there's economic growth, then everyone benefits. When there's economic growth, there's no place for corruption. When there's economic progress, there's no place for shenanigans. Everybody benefits. Small business benefits, medium business benefits, and big business also benefits. And we create towns that are friendly, and then we also obliterate crime. So we need to go back to basics. We need municipalities, comrades, that are capable and also are responsive to the needs of our people and of the economy, and also who are developmental. That is why we must pay attention to good governance, sound financial management, and improve the billing system. Now, quite often, we outsource everything. We find people who will capture the city or the town or the municipality, and we hand over everything to them. And we don't even know what is happening. We don't even improve the skills. Young people who've been well trained do not get opportunities to work in the municipality to sharpen their own skills and wits, and they become frustrated and leave. It's important that we should insource. We should bring back the skills in the town. We should bring back all the skills in the town, rather than to keep on outsourcing everything. There are certain things that you can outsource, but certainly not everything. Let us look at those things that can strengthen the municipality and make the municipality vibrant, make the municipality an oasis of knowledge, an oasis of capability, an oasis of great performance. Municipality must act decisively to improve audit outcomes. Comrades, it cannot and must not be acceptable that in our country we control a number of municipalities. It is hugely painful each time when the Auditor General comes to report to Cabinet and they put up their report, and those municipalities that do best are not ANC-controlled municipalities. And I can name it here because there's nothing wrong with competition. They are often DA-controlled municipalities. We need to ask ourselves, what is it that they are doing that is better than what we are doing? And there's nothing wrong with us saying we want to go and see what Cape Town is doing. We want to go and see what Stellenbosch is doing. How do they craft everything? We need to be moving up the ladder of being good at what we do. We cannot forever stay at the bottom. It hurts me deeply when I continue to see that our municipalities sometimes tend to move even backwards. And you are the people who can improve that. The audit outcomes are important. I'm told by the Auditor General that a number of our financial statements are not even prepared at the council level. They are prepared outside. And even as they come back, they are often wrong. Now, what it means is that we do need to get capable people. Our country is not short of people who understand numbers. It's not short of people who understand accounting. Let us go and get people who understand accounting. Unless we want the books to be cooked. And I would say, away with cooking of the books. Cooking of the books must end today. We must get people who can draft the books properly and present an audit outcome that is going to be in line with what is expected. And comrades, the other important issue is the issue of procurement. We must improve our compliance with public procurement regulations so that we all have confidence that money meant for service delivery reaches our citizens. We must ensure that when it comes to procurement, there are proper rules. The rules that are there are followed. And those that we procure to, we must do a proper assessment, a proper review of whether they will be able to do the work, so that we do not have people who will start the work and stop midway and have uncompleted house buildings or bridges that are not completed and all that. All these things we have to manage. We've got to manage precisely those things. The comprehensive review of the local government system that is underway, including the critical issue of revenue base and funding model municipalities, will go on, and we will come out with good answers. This review must result in the better functioning of our municipalities. That does not mean that we can wait to fix the problems. We must fix the problems as we are flying this plane. What funds municipalities have must be prioritized for water, sanitation, electricity, roads, and housing. We must focus on the people who work in municipalities, ensuring that we recruit the most capable, the most committed, and the most honest. Comrades, we should move away from the temptation of employing those that we think we know and those that will do our bidding. We must employ people who are going to be infused with the notion of good service. One of our most important tasks is to ensure that citizens are able to participate more meaningfully and directly in addressing local challenges. As public representatives, we need to reconnect with our people, as I said. The national dialogue is an opportunity for our communities to rediscover their agencies, the issues that concern them, and to take up those issues in the engagement with public representatives and with other stakeholders in the process of the national dialogue. So you are also going to be called upon to participate together with our people at the local level, at the ward level, in the national dialogue process. Just to be part of it, to give information where it is required, because our people will be wanting to know what is it that we are doing in the work that has been given to us. As councillors, we must support and enable all these efforts. As councillors, we must organize public meetings. And comrades, the other issue that we have abandoned is to do door-to-door. And do door-to-door not only because there are elections. Forget the elections. They are still way off. Each one of us must have a clear line of households where we are going to have a door-to-door process, where as you go into every house, you are welcomed with a smile. You are welcomed because the people in the household know you as their representative. They know you because you also live amongst them. And we must walk away from this notion of being tourists in the areas that we are deployed in. We must walk away from this notion of not living amongst our people. Our people notice these things. If you are a ward councillor and they know you don't live amongst them, they already mark you down because they say, this one does not belong to us. He is not one of us. So comrades, the door-to-door process is what we now need to take to another level and to embark on community campaigns. Our country is not short of issues that needs to be campaigned for, especially issues such as gender-based violence, especially as issues as criminality. Communities can get together, but it is us who must be leading those processes and be involved in them. And our reporting process for all of us who are here is now going to be individualized. We're now going to expect each one of us to say, what did you do in the last 3 months? And we want verifiable actions that you will have embarked upon. It is this, comrades, that this action plan is pivoted against, that we must be accountable, we must be reporting. It is where we must distinguish ourselves by actually embarking on a variety of issues that we may not have done so before. Even, yes, talking to business people, getting them interested in investing in our areas and helping them to get around the red tape and ensuring that we do win them to be part of the whole process of improving our economy. We must continue to create that conducive environment for the progress that is necessary in our local government. So comrades, a lot stands out for us to do. We are supposed to be the foot soldiers of our movement, and our people, having seen that this meeting is going to take place, are expecting that, yes, great action is going to take place now. Various stakeholders, be they older people, people who are needing the indigent support, will now expect that we will knock on their doors. We will make sure that they get on the register. Be they small, medium enterprises, we will get to understand their challenges and difficulties about getting licenses for this and this and that. Now we are expected to be more activized, to be active, to be able to interface with anyone to improve the lives in our community. Comrades, we cannot be spectators of everything that is happening in our communities. We are the agents of change. We are the drivers of change. Everything that happens is our responsibility. Everything that progresses should be our joy. Everything that goes wrong in the communities where we are should be something that we take up. It is our burden. If we undertake all these tasks with the urgency and the purpose that is necessary, I am sure, comrades, we will be able to turn our local government around. And these things, comrades, are doable. And if any of us in doing any of these things lack knowledge, there is a reservoir of knowledge in a variety of places, and all you need is to call out. And if, comrades, any of us begins to do wrong things, they need to be called out and say, here you are making a mistake. We cannot let down our people. But more than that, if we do all these things, we will be able to turn around municipalities into engines of inclusive growth, of sustainable development. And comrades, that's when we will be able, even towns that are seemingly dying, we will inject energy, we will inject enthusiasm, we will look at everything through new prisms, through new eyes. And this meeting, therefore, is indeed a turning point for all of us. Let us do what we need to do. The most essential ingredient in our action plan for local government are yourselves as councillors who must take up this task. Comrades, without you doing anything, we are dead. We are dead. It basically means we may just as well all pack up and go home. You are the ones who are supposed to turn things around. And what we are doing is being a catalyst. You know your area. You know the rock face against which you are working. At this crucial moment, we need the 4,708 councillors of the ANC to be dedicated, to be capable, to be accountable leaders, and to be leaders who are not going to be captured. Some may well have fallen into the temptation of being captured by business interests, by syndicates. And comrades, today, this is a time that we give you to free yourself. Come back home. Come back to the organization. Be part of us again so that we work together to improve the livelihoods of people. Because those syndicates, and we are going to go after them. We are going to go after those syndicates. We are going to set up teams that will go after those syndicates. We know them and we are going to nab them. Now, you free yourself now before it is too late, because they are only interested in advancing their own interests, their own parochial and personal interests. In your case, you are meant to be at a higher level, to serve the common good, our people. There is no place for complacency, therefore, and comrades, there's no place for laziness or arrogance. We need to be humble. Now, as we send you forth to be with our people, let us be humble. Let us serve our people with humility. Let us serve them with the respect that they expect. They want us to respect them. And respecting them also means that we want to explain to them everything. There's no space for self-enrichment or patronage as well. A fundamental problem that we must confront is also the micromanagement by ANC structures of the affairs of municipalities, especially in areas such as the appointment of officials and contractors. Let us allow those who can do the work to do the work. I know it is tempting for us to hold on. Now, this must end. And in the end, when people are freed, are given the opportunity to do what they do best, you'll find that the performance goes up. Our structures are responsible for ensuring councillors are deployed to municipalities and are held accountable for the provision of services to residents. The municipal administration must be able to appoint competent people who can implement the policies and programs of council without any undue political interference. And if they go wrong, if they do wrong things, we are all within our right to ensure that we deal with them and show them the door. That is the right that we have, but we must not obstruct them. Citizens are clear. We must move incompetent people out of the way. They want those who don't serve them well to be moved out. We must not protect individuals that are implicated in corrupt activity. We must encourage and enable the law enforcement agencies to act against people within our own ranks who break the law. We will appoint people based on proven competence, ethical standing, as Reverend Chikane was saying, and qualifications, not just party loyalty or factional alignment. We will rebuild trust by demonstrating that public office is used for public good, not personal gain. In this, every councillor, every cadre and structure has a specific role. Mayors and political committees must outline the key visible priorities. They must publicly track and report quarterly on progress against identified goals. Now, I shouldn't say I feel sorry for you for coming today, but I do, because you are now going to be each one expected to report on a quarterly basis. So now you've put your foot in it. We're going to expect you to report on what you are doing. Ward councillors must be highly visible and responsive in their wards. And if you want increased visibility, you can invite me to come, you can invite the national chair to come, you can invite the deputy president to come. We will give you high visibility. So I am ready and I'm available to come and increase visibility in your ward. Wozalagim. They must also report all service delivery complaints. ANC branches must shift from being solely political meeting spaces to actively participating in community work, such as cleanup campaigns. We must bring up the Cleanup Friday, Letsema Friday. And sometimes when I've been out in Letsema Friday, I found that even some ward councillors are not there in the ward where I would be. So that must now change. We must all be actively involved in the lives of our wards. The caucuses, comrades, must prioritize service delivery in council debates. In other words, caucus agendas must have as a standing item what is happening with service delivery. In all ANC structures, yes, a standing item. You know, with the officials, with the NWC, with the NEC, we have standing items. And those items are electricity, they are water, and they are also logistics, to find out what is happening across the country, because we want to be fully informed. So you must also have standing items and be able to get reports continuously. And the ANC structures, there must be unity and purpose and discipline. And comrades, discipline is what defines a well-run organization. Where there is indiscipline, where people refuse to take or to abide by the decisions that have been taken, and even go to court to fight their own organization. That is a breakdown of discipline. Discipline must mean the ANC is bigger than one individual. The ANC is bigger than me. I know that even as I'm president. I'm not bigger than the ANC, and I will always do what the ANC tells me to do. So that is what we should all be doing. And comrades, there should be no room for factionalism. There is room for different opinions. If you have different opinions, you have room for that. Because with different opinions, you can sit down and discuss and reach consensus. And those who don't agree, if the majority agrees, the democratic decision-making then takes place. But when it comes to factionalism, it is factionalism that has resulted in the trouble that we are having in Ditsobota and in a number of other places. And comrades, factionalism is a treason against the African National Congress. Factionalism means that you don't want to be an ANC member where now you have chosen your own direction. We must be united in reality. These comrades are our marching orders to you as our councillors. As we receive them and as we go out to implement them, let us be guided by what was said in the eye of the needle. And we said, a leader should constantly seek to improve their capacity to serve the people. They should strive to be in touch with the people all the time. They must listen to their views and they must learn from them. They should be accessible and flexible and not arrogant to themselves or arrogate to themselves the status of being the source of wisdom. A leader should win the confidence of the people in their day-to-day work. Where the situation demands, they should be firm and have the courage to explain or seek to convince others of the correctness of the decisions taken by constitutional structures, even if such decisions are unpopular. They should not seek to gain cheap popularity by avoiding difficult issues, making false promises or merely pandering to popular sentiment. We know what needs to be done, comrades. We know what is demanded of us. And today, at this very historic meeting, let us leave this historic gathering of the representatives of our people with the will and the determination to improve the way we work, and by so doing, improve the lives of our people and fundamentally transform our country. We all agree that our country is going through a number of challenges, both here and internationally. And comrades, what we need to do is to focus on how we are going to address those. We also have challenges internationally, particularly with the tariffs that the United States seeks to impose on us. Comrade Ngugai Toby, in speaking here about the impact of the tariffs on the job employment situation in the Eastern Cape, and indeed it will also affect Gauteng, and indeed it will also affect the Eastern Cape and the Western Cape as well. It requires that, yes, we should continue to engage. As it is now, we've got a team in the United States. Comrade Pakstow is joining that team. We're seeking to negotiate a deal, and I will be proceeding to the United States as well to see what deal we are able to come up with so that we ease the pressures that are coming from abroad. We at local level must also do our part to ease the pressures that are bearing down on our people. Let us put our people first. Let us do what is best for our people. And comrades, as I said at the NEC, we can do this. And we must therefore go out and do what has to be done to advance the interests of our people. Thank you.